Hello everyone, this is Code. Welcome to my tutorial. In this tutorial, I want to show you how to create a model. For this tutorial, we need to know some HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript. So this is the demo version. We have two buttons. We can open two models. Let's see. If we click on this, open model 1, you can see that the model is showing up, and we also have that nice animation. And if we want to close the model, we can either click on this button or on this icon right here, and the model is closed. So this is what we are going to be building. For this project, we have two files, index.html and index.css. My CSS file is linked right here, and let's start with the HTML. So we need a div with a class of modal overlay, that black background with opacity behind the modal that covers the whole content of our page. And then we need another div with a class of modal, and inside this modal we need a div with a class of modal header. Here we need an h2. Let's see, this is the header of modal 1. Then we need another div with a class of modal body. This is where we want to place the content of the model. So let's see, this is the content area. So that h2 is actually the title of our model. Okay, and then we need a div with a class of modal footer. This is where we want to place those two buttons. So we have button type button. Let's see, class modal button, and then modal button success, and let's write success, and then duplicate this button and change this to close, and this also to close. And one more thing that we need to add, that icon to close the modal just before our modal header. Add a span with a class of modal close, and I want to use an HTML entity for this, so ampersand hash symbol 10006 and then semicolon, and we are done. Let's see the result in the browser. Perfect. Now it's time to write some CSS. So we start with the universal selector, margin 0, padding 0, box sizing, border box, and then the body, font family sans serif, and we want a height of 100 viewport height, so 100% of the visible area of our page. Okay. And then we can start with the modal overlay. So what do we want? First we want that background color RGBA, which stands for red, green, blue, and opacity. This is a function that we can use to for colors. So we have 0, 0, 0 for black, and then the opacity, let's see, 0.6. okay. We want a height, let's see, height 100%, a width of 100%, position fixed, top 0, left 0. Let's see, we want a z index of 1 and a padding of, let's see, 10 pixels. Okay, save, and let's see the result in the browser. Perfect. Now it's time to work on our model. So we have model, we have a background color of white, a border, let's see, of 1 pixel, sorry, it's CCC, then a border radius of 5 pixels, then a box shadow of RGBA 0, 0, 0, once again black, and 0.35, then 0 pixels, 5 pixels, 15 pixels. Okay, we want a max width of 400 pixels. We want a mean height of, let's see, 150 pixels. I want that max width to use this property, because if there is not enough space, take the remaining space, but if there is too much space way beyond 400 pixels, then take only 400 pixels. Okay, so we have the mean height. Then we want the margin 0, top and bottom, auto, left and right, then margin top of, let's see, 150 pixels. Okay, save and let's see the result. Perfect. We want to give this a position of relative, because we want to use position absolute on that span with that icon. So we have modal close, position absolute, right 10 pixels, top 10 pixels, cursor pointer. Save and let's see the result. Perfect. And of course, for this model we also want to give it a padding of 10 pixels top and bottom, and 15 pixels left and right. Let's see the result. Perfect. Okay, I think we can give this let's see, a display of flex direction, let's see, column, and we want justify content space between, just to push the those three divs, top, middle and bottom. Okay, we have the buttons, we have our header, we have the content. So our modal close is done. Now let's see, our modal header can actually give it a margin top, let's see, 10 pixels. Save and let's see the result. Perfect. The modal body, we leave it like that. Now the modal footer, we give it a display of flex. Let's see, justify content flex end, to put those bottom at the end. Perfect. Those two buttons, now we can work on those two buttons. So we have modal let's see, button. We want to give it a margin left of 10 pixels, outline known, border, let's see, 1 pixel solid, and then 9.5, A5, A6, and then a background color of hash 7F8C 8D. Perfect. A padding of 6 pixels and then 15 pixels, a border radius of 5 pixels. Okay, but now we have those two classes, modal button success and modal button close. Modal, let's see, one thing to know is that I use BEM, which stands for block element modifier. This is a style to name your classes. You can read more about it. So modal button, this modal button is actually a block element, stands for that B, and this modal button success stands for that M modifier, because it changes the default state of a class. Let's see. So I want a background color of 2ECC71. Okay, and then a border of 1 pixel solid. Let's see, 27 AE60. Of course, we also want to give this modal button a color of white for the text, just to not forget. And then we need to do the same for the close modifier. So let's see, the background color has to be E74C 3C, so E74C 3C, and then we need for the border C039 2B, and I think we are done. Let's see the result in the browser. Okay, so we have modal button success, modal button. Of course, this has to be closed. And let's see the HTML. So we have, of course, we have to add one more dash right here. Perfect. And now let's see the result. Okay, so we have success. We missed an S. So let's see. One more C right here. So we have modal button success. Let's see. Modal button success. We missed a C. Perfect. So this is our model. I think we can increase the padding of our model. Let's see, we have padding top and bottom. Let's see. Let's say 15 pixels top and bottom, left and right. Okay, this looks good. Okay, for our buttons we also want to give them cursor pointer. Let's see. So modal button, save, and let's see the result. Perfect. Okay, I think we are done with this. In our HTML area we also need to add two buttons, those buttons to open the modals. For now we need just one. Let's see, we have a div with a class of content, then we have a button type button. Let's see, open modal 1, save, and let's see the result. Okay, now we can style this content class. So content padding, let's say 10 pixels, save, and let's see the result. Perfect. Now we need some more classes for our model to actually work. The first one that we need is for the modal overlay. First, we want to set visibility to hidden and opacity to 0. Perfect. And then we need a new class, modal overlay. Let's see, visible. This is going to be added when the model is showing up to make it visible, to make the modal overlay visible. So we have visibility visible and opacity, let's see, 1. We also want to add transition for the modal overlay. Let's see, for all 0.2 seconds and is in. Okay, we are done with this, with the modal overlay. Now it's time to look at our model. So we need one more class for when the model is showing up. So we have modal, let's see, open. On our model, we want to remove this display flex and say display none. And then we want to use the transform property. Let's see, transform, and use scale and set it to 0. Perfect. Okay, now on our model open, we want to set display to flex. Okay, let's see, we want to set an animation, so we have to create that animation. Just one moment, but before doing that we also want to set transform to scale 1. This is the final and default state of our model. So by using keyframes you can actually define an animation in our CSS. So we have 0% when this is actually starting. We want transform, let's see, we start from scale 0, then 50%, well, no comma, 50% we want transform scale 1.1, and then 100% transform, let's see, transform scale 1 to the default state. And of course we have to name this animation, so open modal, we want to give it this name. And now in our modal open class we want to set this animation, so animation name open modal, and then animation duration we want 0.4 seconds. And I think with this we are done with the CSS. Save, and let's see the result in the browser. No modal. So now we have to write the JavaScript. On this button right here I want to define a data attribute, so I want data event and I want click, and I want one more data attribute, data open, and then I want to pass the name of the model that I want to open, model 1. Okay, now on our model, this div right here, I want to give it to add a data attribute of data model, and I want to pass the name of this model, model 1. Now on this spawn with a class of model close, I also want to add a data attribute with the name close and the value of model 1. And once again I want to add that data event and click, and I want to copy this from here for our close button. Let's see, can actually put it right like that, and add it right here. Save, and let's see the result in the browser. Open and inspect for no errors. Okay, now it's time to write some JavaScript. Let's see right here. So we start with the script tag. Okay, now what we want is to get all those elements that have this data event attribute. So let's see, const click events. So let's say document query selector all, and for data attribute we have to write like this, to use this pair of square brackets, then data event, and then we want to pass click. So we have them all right here. Now this is an array. This function, this method query selector all, it's going to return an array with all the elements found. So we can actually say click events, then for each, then we can actually pass a callback function. So function, this takes two arguments, the element and the index. Let's see, element index. Okay, now for each click event we want to add an event listener for listening for the click event. So click element on click function. Perfect. So on click we want to call this function. Now we can do console log element data set to actually see the data attributes of each element found. Let's see, save, go back to the browser. So we actually have one element. Let's see, because this is the one we clicked right here, so it has this is the object for those data attributes. We have the open and event. We have two data attributes. Okay, but we are right now we are interested of this open model 1. So let's see what is the next step. If this element has, this element has element data set has the open data attribute. Okay, now we know what model to target, so we say const model document query selector. Okay, once again that syntax, a pair of square brackets, then data model. Okay, then we concatenate a string right here. Just a moment. and we want to pass this element data set open. And now we want to do a console log on this modal. Save, and let's see the result in the browser. Click right here, and this is our model. Perfect. Now the first thing that we want to do is to make that modal overlay visible. So we have to target it, modal overlay, document query selector, that class modal overlay. Now on this object, on this element, we can call we can use the class list object to interact with the class list, and then we have the method add, and we want to add a class, let's see, modal overlay visible. I think this is the name. Save, and let's see the result in the browser. Perfect. Okay, perfect, it's working. The other thing that we have to do is to show up our models. Once again, modal class list, add, let's see, modal open. I think this is a class. Save, let's see the result. Perfect. And with this we are done, but now we also have to listen for those click events that are to close the model. So right here we can actually say if element dataset now has this close data attribute. Perfect. We can copy this from here to save some time, put it right here. Instead of element dataset open, we can say close. We get once again the query selector, the modal overlay. Now we have to remove this class modal overlay visible, and then for our model we have to remove this class modal open, so that a model is closed. Save, and let's see the result. We open the model, and if we click right here, the model is closed. Open it once again, and if we click right here, once again the model is closed. Beautiful. This is actually the JavaScript code that I really wanted to make this model, to use this, how many models we want pretty easily. So I can actually add one more model right here. Let's see, just one moment, without changing the JavaScript code. So basically using the same JavaScript code, we can call this modal2. So data close modal2, and once again data close modal2. And now we need to add one more button, but before this let's change this to modal2. Okay, and right here we can copy this just to save some time, and say data open modal2, and change this to modal2. Save, and let's see the result in the browser. So this is modal1. Perfect. And this is modal2. Perfect. Well, that's it with this tutorial. I hope you learned something really useful. See you next